Christmas. I have a beautiful story to narrate to you today. A Christmas carol written by Charles Dickens. Where on our channel Ammu&You, I am Ammu and I have got this beautiful story like I do every time to tell you. So, A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens. Many Christmases ago, there lived a man named Ebenezer Scrooge. He was a businessman. He was unkind, greedy, and utterly selfish. Nobody liked him. He had a friend, his business partner, Jacob Marley, who was exactly like him. Together, they exploited the needy by lending them money and then take away everything from them if they were late in repayment. They spared no one. Their hearts were as hard and cold as the gold coins that they hoarded. 7 years ago, on Christmas Eve, Jacob Marley died, and Scrooge was left alone. He was nasty to even the people who worked for him, like the young clerk who was timid, Bob Cratchit. Poor thing, he would be sitting working in the cold, dark office without even a proper heater. Scrooge was such a cruel taskmaster that he would force Bob Cratchit to work even on the day of Christmas. Naturally, Bob Cratchit wanted to spend the day with his family, especially with his very sick son, Tiny Tim. When he requested to do so, the hard-hearted Scrooge granted him a half day on Christmas, on condition of Bob having to work through New Year. Just imagine, children. Merry Christmas, wished Bob as he went out. Bah, Christmas, frowned Scrooge as he sat alone staring at his desk. His nephew Fed dropped in just then, asking him to come over for his Christmas party. Christmas party, again, frowned the rude Scrooge. Fed left, and soon after 2 gentlemen walked in for some charity to help the needy and the homeless. Scrooge did not pay a penny and was so very rude to them. He then decided to go up to his house upstairs. And as he entered the house where Jacob Marley also lived when he was living, he was shocked to see the ghost of Jacob Marley walking towards him, tied in heavy chains, thick, heavy chains of greed and lust and money boxes and folders and what not. Jacob Marley told him that he has come to warn his friend Scrooge of this dreadful fate. He says that Scrooge will be haunted by 3 spirits in the next 3 days, and he has a chance to redeem his horrible deeds and change to a better person. The ghost of Jacob leaps through the window, leaving Scrooge shell-shocked. The next morning, the first spirit appears as a ghost of the past Christmas. It has a child's face. The ghost takes hold of Ebenezer's arm and takes him to visit his childhood town. Ebenezer sees his classmates and becomes sort of emotional. He then sees himself as a little boy, neglected by everyone, sitting alone in a dark room, reading a book. Suddenly he sees his younger sister, cheerful, giving him the joyful news that their father has agreed to bring Ebenezer home. Now he remembers that his nephew Fed, who he despises and is always rude to, is the son of the same loving young sister who is dead now. He then sees his kind and generous boss with whom he had worked for the first time. A very happy-go-lucky person celebrating Christmas, singing and dancing with everyone. The ghost takes him to see his fiancée Belle, who had walked out of his life because Ebenezer had chosen money over the love for her. Few years into the future, now Ebenezer sees Belle very happy in her married life with a loving husband and children. He is overwhelmed by all this that he is seeing. The next morning, he is met by the ghost of Christmas present. This spirit takes him to his clerk Bob Cratchit's house, where Scrooge sees, despite being poor, how happy the family was. They were enjoying each other's company with so much love and care. He then sees Tiny Tim, Bob's crippled son. The spirit then takes him to many places where Scrooge sees how people are celebrating this wonderful festival of Christmas, happily with their loved ones, how kind and caring they were to each other. The spirit takes him to his nephew Fed's Christmas party, where Scrooge is taken aback to see Fed toasting to his uncle Scrooge's health, the same nephew who he had refused to attend his Christmas party. Suddenly, Scrooge sees the faces of two disfigured children. Under the spirit's cloak, the spirit introduces them to be ignorance and want. Scrooge does not know how to react to all that he is seeing and experiencing. Next comes the third spirit, a phantom-like apparition that approaches Scrooge. He takes him into few years into the future, where Scrooge sees himself a dead man lying on the floor, and no one to speak even a kind word about him. The spirit then takes him to the cemetery to show Scrooge's unkept grave. He asks the spirit if no one is happy, no one is happy that Scrooge has died. Everyone is so happy, as if they don't care. That is what he was saying. So he wanted to know if anyone is really happy at his death. Yes, a young couple who was heavily into debt had taken a lot of money from Scrooge and could not repay. They were sort of happy that they had now gotten rid of this debt and cruel moneylender Scrooge. Now Scrooge realizes his mistake and starts crying. He begs for a chance to change. He pleads hard and hard and hard in front of the third spirit, and the night is over. He wakes up next morning to find it is Christmas. And then Scrooge realizes that all the 3 ghost visitations had happened in one night. He feels elated that he has got his chance again to really celebrate Christmas. He peeps out of the window and orders a little boy that he sees to get the best turkey in town to be sent to his clerk, Bob Cratchit's house. Then he is so happy, he goes and buys gifts for whosoever he knows dresses up to go to his nephew Fed's Christmas party and takes the gifts along. On his way, he meets the men for charity, who then he apologizes for his rudeness, treats them with respect, and pledges a generous amount to them. Scrooge enjoys the simple joys while celebrating Christmas the whole day with everyone, and he is so happy the first time in his life he has understood the power of love in sharing and giving, which he never did before. Next morning, when Bob Cratchit walks into his office, he gives him the wonderful news of a raise in his salary. In the following years, the transformed Scrooge becomes a happy man, loved by all, respected by all. He celebrates Christmas every year with joy and compassion. What a lovely story, children, and what a beautiful festival, like all the others, where we celebrate love, sharing, caring, and that brings us so much of happiness. So, Merry Christmas again to all of you. Let this Christmas bring out the best in you. May your lives be filled with joy and love. Wait for me till I come back again. Oh yeah, before that, please like, share, subscribe, press the bell icon and tell all your friends to subscribe to our channel Ammu&You. Till I come again, wait for me. Ammu says tata.